Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about the latest Dreamworks Animation film released on March 8th, 2024, Kung Fu Panda 4. It's the fourth movie in the series and follows Po as he trains a new warrior to be his successor and fight a shape-shifting sorceress, the Chameleon. Now, before I hop into my review, if you want to support the channel, then please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you, I really appreciate it. As a warning, this review will contain some heavy spoilers, so please continue at your own risk. Lastly, if there's anything that you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Thank you. I'm hopping in 3, 2, 1. First off, I freaking love Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2. The characters and their stories are so freaking cool. Po becoming the Dragon Warrior, the Furious 5 kicking butt, and the villains. Oh my god. Dreamworks knows how to write some good villains. Tai Lung and Lord Shen. Wow, masterful. Now I also love Kung Fu Panda 3, but not nearly as much as the first two. It's not as memorable or nostalgic or as peak in my eyes. Still a great movie, but not S tier. I hate to say it, but Kung Fu Panda 4, despite being a good movie, does not live up to the legacy of the first two, and it's not even on the same level as the third movie. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good movie, but if you haven't seen it yet, I want you to go into it with the right expectations. Right off the bat, let's talk about the characters. Jack Black returns to voice Po, and as always, he does a good job in this role. He has a very unique voice that fits Po so well. It's a good mix of explosive energy, laziness, and humor. However, character-wise, I was disappointed with Po's arc in this movie. I fail to understand why Po needs to step down as the Dragon Warrior and fill Master Oogway's role. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, so I'm very much used to my protagonist, Goku, always getting stronger and having to fight a bigger and badder enemy. That was my expectation for Po. He's only been the Dragon Warrior for 2.5-ish movies, so I was expecting a lot more Dragon Warrior action. It's probably a little too dark for a children's movie, but maybe Po could have lost a limb or his eyesight against the Chameleon and then been forced to adapt his fighting style to defeat her. Anything other than stepping down and giving the spotlight to Zhen. Also, before I rant about Zhen, Master Shifu should have taken Oogway's role. He's dressed like him, so what has he been doing all this time? Anyways, I am a Zhen hater because I am an Awkwafina hater. I'm sorry. Her voice is like nails on chalkboard. Having her voice the main character was rough for me. More importantly though, I didn't like the character for Zhen. She was a very cliche character. In so many movies I've seen lately, especially remakes, original characters, the OGs, are forced to step down from positions of power because now they're older, senile, dumb, or they're just not with the times. This allows the new, fresh, and young characters the opportunity to step up and claim that role and title. Unfortunately, almost all of the time, these new characters don't have the proper writing to help bridge the gap. These characters are written to have less flaws than our heroes and more or less be all around better than them at everything. It's really bad storytelling because it makes the new characters unrelatable and undeserving of the spotlight. Zhen unfortunately falls into this category. She has a solid orphan backstory and story arc in Kung Fu Panda 4, but from the first moment we're introduced to her, she's already Po's equal in wit and kung fu. You're telling me this orphan girl with less years of experience and training is the rival to the Dragon Warrior when Tai Lung wasn't? That doesn't make sense or resonate well. Zhen is a propped up character made for toys. While I'm ranting about characters, let's discuss the Chameleon. Her voice acting, amazing. It's Viola Davis and she slays the role. Sadly, that's where the slaying ends. The Chameleon is such a weakly motivated villain, it hurts. She is basically the great value version of Kai from the last movie. Her goal is to steal Kung Fu from Kung Fu masters. She does this through the use of magic, which is never explained. The process of stealing Kung Fu, a physical action, doesn't make sense. Her natural abilities, which are to mimic the way other people look, is perfectly fine and used really well to introduce her character, but her arc is just not it. Before I wrap up talking about the characters, I want to talk about the notable absence of the Furious 5. I was very disappointed close to the start of this movie when Po nonchalantly revealed the Furious 5 would not be in this story because of the missions they're on. I was really hoping they would at least come to his rescue at the end of the film, but no, they weren't in this movie at all. My big issue with their absence is that they represent a blend of martial arts prowess and distinct personalities such as strength, agility, speed, grace, and strategy. Their inclusion is what gives Kung Fu Panda a martial arts feel to it. Not to praise them so highly, but they make Kung Fu Panda Kung Fu Panda. As written in this movie, Po is not a strong enough character to tell a story with. So, without the Furious 5, Kung Fu Panda 4 feels like a great value Zootopia Zootopia spin-off. I love Zootopia, so that's not an insult. It's just a different vibe, which the character designs for everyone are cleaned up a bit. They don't really have that Kung Fu Panda charm like they used to. The detail isn't as good, and characters like Jen look straight out of Zootopia. Again, that's not a bad thing, it's just not what I expected and grew up loving. I promise I enjoyed this movie, just not nearly as much as I could have. Another reason why this movie misses the mark is the pacing, kind of. The movie is fast-paced, which I loved. I don't think we have enough fast-paced movies, and this one only ran for an hour and 30 minutes. The problem is the way the movie is broken up in between scenes. Our interlude time fillers are Poe's dads. They get scared Poe is going to die, so they go on an adventure after him to make sure he's safe. Their scenes feel so unnecessary and like a waste of time. Nearly every scene they're in, we've already seen, but with Poe and Jen. We don't need to see it again. It removes time from Poe and Jen that could have been used for character building instead of silly jokes. I'm almost done ranting, I promise. The theme of this movie is hard to pinpoint. I think it's about finding inner peace, but that confuses me because in the last movie, that's what Poe did. He found his inner peace, so why does he have to do it again? It doesn't make much sense to me. The lack of an underlying message and meaning in this movie make it feel like a cash grab. I can't quite call this movie a cash grab though, because it still had some charm. The animation is still very pretty at times, and some of the visuals are impressive. I also laughed a fair amount despite some cheesy slapsticky children's humor. I'd like to imagine that makes me a kid at heart. Another thing I really enjoyed in this movie was the music. I think it was done very well and helped this movie feel like a Kung Fu Panda movie. There wasn't anything groundbreaking about it, but I was definitely satisfied. Kung Fu Panda 4 continues the legacy of the beloved franchise, but falls short of its predecessors. The return of Jack Black as Poe brings his signature energy and humor, but Poe's character arc feels disappointing as he steps down from being the Dragon Warrior to train Zhen. Zhen, voiced by Awkwafina, is a cliché character with propped up abilities that make her the Dragon Warrior's perfect rival. This makes her unrelatable and uninteresting, and I hate to say it, but Awkwafina's voice doesn't do it for me. The absence of the Furious Five is also keenly felt, stripping away a lot of the martial arts essence that defined the series. The Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, shines in her performance but lacks a compelling motive, making her a weaker villain compared to past antagonists. She is a copycat of Kai but with unexplained magical powers. The pacing suffers from unnecessary filler scenes with Poe's dads, wasting time that could have been used to develop Zhen's character. The theme of finding inner peace feels repetitive. Poe did that in the last movie, so this one lacks a clear message or meaning. Despite my ranting, Kung Fu Panda 4 still has its charm with visually impressive animation, silly humor, and a satisfying musical score. It's an enjoyable watch with the right expectations, but it doesn't reach the height of its predecessors, and it never will. Overall, it's a good addition to the franchise, but falls short of being exceptional. If you have kids, I'm sure they will love this movie. Please buy some pizza on a Friday night and rent this movie for them. However, if you're like me, single, childless, and you have some free time, then I would probably recommend a different movie. I definitely enjoyed this movie, but I am also every marketing major's dream customer because I enjoy every movie. So I will leave the recommendation up to you. Thank you for listening to my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. If you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, then please take a second to like and subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so let me know what you're thinking by leaving a comment. Also, if you want me to review something, don't forget to let me know and I will get to it as soon as I can. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Goodfriends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego, and I will see you next time.